I have a meeting in approximately 14 minutes and I feel like utter crap. I've been kind of spasming all morning and I'm just very tired. Can you tell that these eyes are dead? Like, I tried to put makeup on them and I was like, oh, also my arms ache a lot. It's just a really, really terrible chronic pain day, but it can be really frustrating going back to school because I'm just so tired, like so exhausted, and trying to figure out the debate of like, when do I push on and when I don't. Like, I know that there's days that I'm going to be, not feeling terrible. Like, I have chronic pain, that's part of my story. But days like this when I'm just like, I'm so tired, I'm so fatigued. Every time I raise my arms, they like really ache and there's spasms in my back, and like my lower back feels like, what is a bunch of pain? Like gunshot? Is that it? It just does not feel well. And I'm just so tired, and like I don't know how to talk to someone and be like, hi, how are you doing? Yes, let me tell you, I'm very invested in you. That was like a little too high pitched. Hi, hello. So yeah, I've been like trying to like speak out loud so that I don't really sound really tired, because it's also like 3 p.m. in the afternoon, so it's way too late for me to be like, ugh, first thing in the morning. So yeah, I really want to succeed and I really want to be able to finish my degree. I really want to be able to work, but having challenges where I don't know, and no matter how hard I try, I always seem to fail is really frustrating. It's really fun. And on the other side, I still invalidate myself all the time, telling myself that I'm not really sick. Like, maybe I'm just lazy, maybe I'm just, being dumb, or maybe I like the attention, or all of these lies that we tell about disabled people, that we tell about women, that we tell about people who are sick and not visibly sick. Like, I can put some makeup on and like, smile at a camera and go hi, and you can't see like the deadness of my eyes. Like, that is just like every breath that I take, it's like it hurts. Every movement I move, like, it's really invalidating to live with an invisible disability and to still feel like I have to justify if I say disabled or like something like that. And yeah, and then like sometimes you're still doing things and there's a lot of unpleasant things that people say about people that have illnesses like me, or who, need help, or things like that. A lot about like faking. There's a lot of conversations about faking illness for money or faking illness for attention. It just really, really gets behind you. Like, it's something that you don't realize is so common said until you actually have to live with it and understand that like these are people who, know you're sick and yet don't even realize that they're making those kinds of conversations in front of you, and they shouldn't be making those conversations at all. So like, I've literally sat with so many people and being like, yeah, but that's my story. And they're like, yeah, but you're one of the good ones. And it's so frustrating. Anyways, I can do this meeting. It's now in 11 minutes. And hello, hi. I want to talk to you today. That sounded like I'm breaking up with someone. We can do this. The greatest thing about house sitting is, first of all, the complete lack of white light in most people's houses. Why do people like orange? First of all, it's not that pleasant. I like bright light. And second of all, if you're gonna have me vlog here, it's completely unhelpful. Second of all, there's the great dog panting in the background because I think they haven't seen humans in a while, and they really want to curl up next to me. This is a video I never planned to have on the internet. I find filming tends to pep me up a little bit. It makes me kind of get more excited, and since this was going to be a video call, I knew that I was going to have to talk to someone on video, and that sometimes that can feel more forced to begin with, and if I was already going to be, slurring or like unable to really like focus or spacing out, I really didn't want that. So I really wanted to kind of practice trying to make myself seem more excited and happy and like, eager to talk to them, because I was eager to talk to them. I just was, trying not to move anything but my face because everything hurt, and to go monotone, I'm so excited to see you. I can't even do monotone when I'm planning to. I'm so excited to see you. It's just gonna be me weird voicing. I do want people to feel valued. I want people to know that I'm excited to see them and all of that. And even when I'm excited, when I'm in pain, it's harder for me to come across that way, especially if I haven't practiced. So it's not uncommon for me to practice recording myself in order to get myself more excited, in order to film better. And that's what I was doing, but I ended up saying a lot of the thoughts that I wouldn't normally say, the insecurities and the frustration, and looking back about a week and a half later and saying, hey, these are things that I think are important to say out there. that if I tried to re-record in a more like focused things, I would overthink about how I was coming across. If talking about feeling like I'm faking pain makes it seem like I'm actually faking pain and all of these other insecurities, I think sometimes in those moments when you're just really done, you say things a little bit more honestly. But I'm not ashamed of those feelings. I'm not ashamed of those thoughts. They're just feelings that normally when I'm filming or when I'm trying to talk to people, I say them a little nicer. I try to say things in a way that come across more intellectually rather than experiences that I'm actually experiencing, which is the fact that I often invalidate myself. I often feel like my pain is not valid and that other people do not think my pain is valid, and that I always have to prove my pain. You know, it's gotten to the point where almost every single day I wake up in chronic pain, and yet every single day that I can't move, it's almost of a, oh, you're not faking it, because no one's around to see this, so there's no reason you'd fake it. But culture tries to tell you so much that we're faking it, that, or that you're lazy, or that you should try harder, or that you did this to yourself, that even when I'm alone in pain and crying, I can't completely erase the idea that this is all in my head, that somehow I would sacrifice everything that I had dreamed about in order to have a life where I can't do anything, which, you know, that might sound great, but as someone who wants to do something, as someone who has dreams, it doesn't make logical sense. Laying in bed is not fun, it's not exciting, and it's not restful. The fact that people would think that people would sacrifice the ability to work, because if you're doing something you love, work is great. I've always enjoyed work. It's so great, especially for me. I love being around people. I love helping. Like, I worked in kitchens for 6 years, which is not a glamorous job, but I loved it. You can ask anyone who came across me. I love nothing more than to make food and have fun. So the best part about being back at school is you meet first years and you get to edit their assignments. I'm that weird person. I absolutely love editing. It has always made me incredibly happy. So I picked up a cafe shift because I love working in the cafe. We do it by volunteer. It's a small college, so I always like it because it's right in the entrance, so I get to talk to people, and I absolutely love just talking to people, and I feel like it makes people's days to have someone who's friendly. So I started talking to people, and then I started talking the assignments, and I was like, well, I'll edit it. And then I spent 4.5 hours editing, including like 3 hours after my shift. So it was enjoyable to just sit there and be like, okay, and this is how you do this, and like, you know, this is the way that you can add it, and like, how do we think about this? Like, let's, you know, talk about like the formatting. I didn't stop working until I kept on collapsing over and over and over again. So the fact that people insinuate time and time again that people who are on disability are seeking out disability because they're faking pain, and because I can't prove to every single person that I have pain, and because my symptoms are so wide, because chronic pain is all through my body. So I can't be like, when someone says your pain, and I have to be like, well, sometimes my arms, and sometimes it's my legs, and sometimes I have chronic migraines, and sometimes I wake up and I can't walk, but the next day I can walk. And to try to explain all of that without it saying that I'm just like, oh yes, everything's breaking down. The way that I've started to explain it is that it's my central nervous system. My body doesn't properly communicate pain, so that my body misinterprets pain all the time. My body often misinterprets signals as pain, and that my body does not regenerate energy and adrenaline properly. But then if I say things like that, or I say I have fibromyalgia, someone will be like, oh, I knew someone who had fibromyalgia, or I knew someone who had this, and they worked and they were perfectly okay, and everything was good and everything was happy. And I'm like, I've tried. I want to work, you know, and it's, maybe I'm just, you know, maybe I'm just ranting into the nothingness about things that people already know, or maybe it's all in my head that people invalidate people with invisible disabilities or even physical disabilities all the time. And yet, to me, it's just something that is so insidious. And by insidious, I mean like underneath the surface that people don't realize. Because like insidious means secret evil. It means something that's underneath society or underneath someone that, you know, it's smiling. People smile all the time and say despicable things about people with disabilities. You know, they say despicable things about people who are on welfare or on disability or on any kind of government assistance. And I'm so tired of it. And I know that happens on a larger scale with race and other things like that all the time. It's where the phrase polite racism comes from, where you say things very kindly about how you just want things to be better, or how you wish things would be better, or, you know, if they would just work and take care of themselves. It's so frustrating to me that I have to constantly advocate for myself and yet the words are lost in my throat because I know the stereotypes and contradictions that people will make as soon as I open my mouth. And, you know, the fact that even when talking to caseworkers, even when talking to doctors, they acknowledge that I have pain, they acknowledge that I have a diagnosis, and they also acknowledge that the system will not work for me and will not give me adequate care or accommodation so that I cannot work. And I've talked and applied to so many jobs, and you can see the cold drain from their throat. You know, I'll have a great interview and then I'll say, you know, I have a disability, and you can see the color drain from their throat, and you can see where they shut down, you know, especially if I say it's an invisible disability, because then I'm just, you know, faking it. And then people will nicely say, but why don't you just not tell them you have a disability? And I'm like, first of all, I don't want to be a liar. Second of all, I think it's worse that if they hire me and then I have to tell them, and then I have to see that color drain, and then I have to see them kind of try to navigate wanting to fire me but not wanting to fire me. Like, I have literally offered to train for free under people in case I wasn't able to do the work requirement so they could fire me without having a loss to the company of training a new employee. That is the level I've gone to try to receive employment. I have no desire for people to be sorry for me or to have pity for me. I just want to be able to live in the world with the accessibility and treatment of not being invalidated because of my pain, to not have people smack talk people with disabilities. This was supposed to be a very short video and it ended up being a very long video, but these are my thoughts about disability and health and how to live in a world with an invisible disability and the challenges that we face.